Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're to present you our NBA morning shoot around for Tuesday, February 11th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't come and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily FanDuel and DraftKings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure to come check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So what up, Jeremy? How you doing out there, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you? What's up?
I'm doing good, man. Another day, another night of we got some NBA basketball coming up. How did you do last night?
I mean, it became a pretty obvious spot when like 30 minutes before lock we got actually like 45 minutes before lock we got Giannis is going to be out. News Lowry was going to play, so that all kind of cleared itself up. A guy we talked about last night, I had in all my lineups. So I love Outer 39 fantasy points. He's award tonight. I thought was a real spot, and then the chalk does. So Middleton, we talked to those guys that they were gonna if Giannis was gonna be out, they were gonna be chalk. Both of them go for 50 fantasy points tonight. So all in all, good night, man.
Yeah, for sure. And the lineups got pretty high scoring tonight. I came up a little bit more on the shorter end of it. I had a couple lineups 330, 335, and they just missed cashing in GPP. So it was just one of those nights. Chalk is always harder with the chalk. You got to get the right plays, or otherwise you're going to be on the wrong side of the green that you want to be on. But yeah, man, let's jump into some basketball and let's get it going if you're ready to go.
NBA is so much different than other sports because you can't miss on anybody. And I mean, you look at a guy like with Ibaka and Gasol out. You look at a guy like Chris Boucher, and
he dudded.
That guy was a solid. He dudded in a cash game situation where he's really chalky, and that'll kill you. So
yeah,
moving on.
Hey, killed me, bro. You called it. I didn't want to bring him up.
but I think one thing we talk about all the time, right? You have to be able to sift through shit, right? And what's a good play, right? Just because some injury news breaks out. One of the things we talked about tonight was Sabonis being too cheap, but then all this value opens up, and then it's kind of easy. We can get turned off and move different directions. Sometimes it doesn't pay off. Sometimes it does.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely agree. You ready to jump into this?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. First game we'll talk about on tonight's slate, we got the Los Angeles Clippers going into Philadelphia to face the 76ers.
Kawhi will come back. He's Sunday. This little load management thing he's got going on. The big thing with Kawhi, though, when you look at him, is just look at the past 5 games he's played in. He only played 30 minutes and 30 minutes, and then the rest of these games he's played 23 and 27. The minutes is crazy for him because they're not there, but he's still putting up 40 fantasy points. So on a 5-game slate, you could possibly consider for the simple fact that we know he has the upside. In a matchup like this with a close spread, he could play 30 minutes coming off a rest day. 9.2 is a very fair price for him. He's putting up the stat sheet in all categories, getting you rebounds, assists. And without Patrick Beverly, Kawhi Leonard's kind of the default usage guy. So I like him in the spot, but you just have to kind of keep in mind that the minutes haven't consistently been there for him over the past couple weeks. They've got Marcus Morris now in this line at 5,200. We know he was a really good play at this price tag with the Knicks. We got to kind of see how he's going to move into this rotation. I definitely think with Beverly, I could also look at Landry Shamet, a little bit of a revenge narrative, I guess, with him going back against his formal team in the Philadelphia 76ers. 4,300 price tag for a guy that consistently plays around 27 to 30 minutes. And then look, Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell are just too cheap. Period. Like in the story, you could talk about what they're doing, what they're not doing, but when a guy's price inflates, that's when you kind of get like, we really want to put him in there. But we say a guy's too cheap. What we're talking about is 57 for Lou Williams, who has 4-point upside, 5,600 for Montrezl Harrell, who has 440 upside. It's just too cheap a price tag. So those two guys definitely consideration. I definitely think on this game slate you can stack the Clippers up.
Yeah,
and I didn't even mention Paul George, who you could also put in play here. I just think Kawhi's the high usage player, especially without Patrick Beverley. I just think Kawhi's the higher usage player. It's a fair price tag on Paul George. I just think that Kawhi's the better play.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Clippers. They're a really good defensive team going against a Philadelphia team that has been struggling a little bit. We got some guys that they're a little bit under pressure now because of the recent struggles. But I mean, I'll talk about their main two guys first. You got Ben Simmons, 9,100. You got Joel Embiid, 9,800. I definitely think that both of those guys are in play. For me, against a really good Clippers defense, I think that they're both a little bit more GPP plays. I would definitely give the nod to Joel Embiid coming off a really big game. And you got the Clippers who don't really play a conventional center. They usually go Harrell at the 5, so I think that Joel Embiid could have a pretty good game. Ben Simmons at 9,100 with Patrick Beverley's out. I think he's a decent play. You can look at Tobias Harris at 6,400. You can also look at Al Horford at 5,500. Both of those guys are coming in at very fair price tags. They both play right around 30 minutes a game. So definitely think that you can look at them. And then the guy that's interesting for me, Josh Richardson. He has come off the bench the past 2 games. I think this could be a game where they put him back in that starting role. 14 minutes his first game back, 19 minutes his second game back. Even if he comes off the bench, but they say that they're going to play him about 25 minutes at a 3,700 price tag. I think he's a GPP play that you can look at, but strictly a GPP play. And that's really where I'm at with the Sixers. I definitely think there is a couple guys that you could play, though, for sure.
Moving on. The thing is you're talking to Richardson at 3,700, and when you first look at that, Richardson's too cheap, right? But Alec Burks and saying tomorrow, and that'll be interesting. Will Burks cut into Richardson? Will they split minutes? So that I think both those guys become GPP plays.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but Richardson's a starter. I mean, they paid him kind of over the summer. So I think that, maybe it will come down a little bit minute-wise, but, if we're saying he's going to be a starter and play 30-something minutes, he's just still coming back from from an injury. So 25 at 3,700, if he's going to play that, I definitely take it. But I like the Alec Burks thing. He's a guy who definitely could come off the bench and give him some firepower. They wouldn't have traded for him for a reason, for sure. Moving on, next game we're talking about, we got Chicago going into Washington. These are 2 young teams, 2 pretty bad teams. This should be a very fast-paced game back and forth. So go ahead and get it started with the Chicago side of things.
Zach LaVine's a game decision, but this is probably dealing with next has him in a knee contusion. But it's expected he'll play tomorrow. And this guy's playing a lot of minutes, man. And he is playing a lot of minutes. You can look at his game log, 39 minutes, 33 minutes, 44 minutes, 39 minutes. He's playing a lot of minutes. And it's a little bit scary as we head into the All-Star break. Probably one of these guys that could definitely use a break because he's so many minutes, but he's just their high usage player. That's the one guy you could look at. And I think in a matchup against Washington, we both know Washington plays no defense. They just play no defense. Track meets with teams, and this is their high usage guy. This is their scorer. So you have to like him in this spot. It's just the price tag sucks at 9,000. The rest of the Bulls, the guy that I'm going to continue to play, look, you got Thomas Satoransky, you've got Kobe White, you've got Shaq Harrison, you've got all these guys, Denzel Valentine, all of these guys that kind of play the perimeter. The guy I'm going to keep playing is your boy Ryan Arcidiacono. I'm going to keep playing this guy. Arcidiacono, I called it the other night. He had 28.8 against New Orleans, 24 minutes. He dudded against Philadelphia with only 5 points and 4 rebounds, but he still played 19 minutes. I just like this spot for him. I don't mind Satoransky to play because obviously there's a little bit of a narrative there against his former team. And he did play against Washington already 2 times. This is 34 minutes, 34 fantasy points back in December. And then in 27 minutes just a couple weeks ago, 31.1 fantasy points. And both of those are 6x his current price tag. So you have to like Satoransky also. He'll provide you some value with that point guard position. And then for Hutchinson, I think that, look, this kid's good. For one, he's playing a ton of minutes. He's playing at least 31 minutes in each of the last two games, and he played at least 27 minutes in the last 5 games. So, you take a look at the production, 32 points, 30.11, 25.5 on a 4-6 price tag, also exceeding 6x his price tag as well. So LaVine, it's a high price tag. You possibly say I'd rather spend the $100 more and Bradley Beal, But I definitely think you could take a look at Satoransky, Ryan Archtiago, and Chandler Hutchinson for sure.
Yeah, I mean, on the Washington side of things, it's tough because I definitely want to play some Washington guys going against this young Chicago team. Obviously, we know Bradley Beal's in play at 9,800. I think he's definitely in a really good spot here to have a really good game. I don't necessarily like the price tag, but the guy's playing very, very well. He's a guy definitely in play. The other guy that I think you could really consider is Davis Bertans at 5,800. The price tag is a tiny bit more than I would like to play for him, but the guy he's the other guy for Washington that's getting very consistent minutes, playing right around 30, 31 minutes a game. Outside of him and Bill, I mean, everything else is really a timeshare. You got, Wagner, Mahimi kind of split in time. Troy Brown gets decent run. I think you could look at him as a GPP play. But then you got Ish Smith, and they brought in Shabazz Napier. Those two guys are kind of splitting run right there. So it's really, it's Bertans, and then obviously Bradley Beal is the best play for Washington going against the Chicago team. Moving on, next game we'll talk about, we got Portland going into New Orleans to face the Pelicans.
Dame time. I mean, he has a couple of mediocre games. One of them was Denver game where they got blown by Denver and you look minutes. And then they played against San Antonio. He didn't need to do a whole lot in that one. Played 30 minutes, 26 and 6 and 10. But only 36 fantasy points. He's back on track. 63.2 against Utah, 52.8 against Miami, 42 points against 33 real points against Miami. And this is going to be a track meet, right? It seems like that's kind of where the NBA is at, I guess. We keep this is a third game about tonight. The third one was probably going to be a somewhat track meet. I'm sorry, the second one we're talking about being a track meet. But we know the Pelicans just don't play good on their defense. And Drew Holiday, it seems like is not the defensive stopper he'd been in the past. And I know when I'm saying Dame, he's hot. We know what Drew Holiday did to Dame lower in the playoffs. I just think it's hot, man. I think that's where it's at. Drew Holiday hasn't defended like he has been. You could definitely look at Ariza. You could definitely look at Carmelo Anthony. I think you have to look at Whiteside. Whiteside is having arguably his best year ever since he's been a professional basketball player. The price tag is only 800 here. Guy who's been giving you fantasy points pretty consistently and above that, right? 59.1 against San Antonio, 52 against Utah, 68.4 against the Lakers. He just had 17 boards against in the Miami game against his former team, 11 and 17 for 44 fantasy points. So Whiteside at 8,800, it's not a great price tag, but that's kind of the that I look at is a lot of people are going to look at Whiteside's price tag, and he comes with such a negative connotation behind him, and I think that keeps ownership low on a 5-game slate where you've got a lot of guys to pay up for, and there's not a lot of value at the center spot.
Yeah, on the New Orleans side of things, I think there's some obvious guys that you could definitely play. The obvious ones, you got Lonzo Ball playing very well at 6,700. I think he's a great play. You got Drew Holiday coming in at 7,400, another really good price tag. I think he's a really good play. And they got Zion, 7,200. They're all right there in the mid-tier, and they're all, they're playing fast. They're all getting there for the most part. So I definitely think that Zion, Drew Holiday, and Lonzo Ball are in play. The other guys I'll throw in there, we got to wait and see what happens with Brandon Ingram. If Brandon Ingram does play, I definitely think he's in play. If Brandon Ingram is out, I think that gives a little bit of a bump to Josh Hart, who already plays about 25 minutes a game. I think he'll get close to 29, 30 minutes in this game if Brandon Ingram does end up being out. So that's a big piece of news that we got to wait on. Outside of that, that's really where I'm at. Derek Favors, he definitely has some upside, but he just hasn't been getting the run lately. But at 5,600, I think you could take a GPP stab on him. And that's really where I'm at with the Pelicans. Moving on.
For your boy Redick?
Nah, I'm not. Redick he hasn't really been doing too much this year, bro. You on Redick at all?
We just got to look at the past 3 games. We're kind of gotten healthy and back in rotation. 21 minutes, 22 minutes, 27 minutes, 39.8 fantasy points against the Pacers, 24 against Chicago. On 4.3, we know he's a 3-point shooter, and that's the one thing about Portland. Portland gives up a lot of 3-point shots. You just win a Portland game, and you're going to see both teams take a ton of threes. In a game like this, where you've got a knockdown shooter who's just a catch and shoot guy, who doesn't need to dribble the basketball, who can just catch, shoot, come off the high, pick and roll. love Redick in the spot because, like I always say, when a shooter's hot, just play because they go on streaks. It's like a baseball player that is on a 7 or 8 game hitting streak. Just load him up because that streak's not going to last forever. Redick's hot.
Yeah, no, I get the play. I mean, my only thing with Redick is the minutes have been down. And I mean, at 4,300, I think that it is a good play. One thing I do want to note, though, is he got 27 minutes last game, the most minutes he's played in a while. But Brandon Ingram was out, and so was Zion. So it did open up some extra minutes. But I definitely get you. I mean, Redick, and what I was reading a stat right here. In 37 of 40 games he's played this year, he scored double digits. And at 4,300, all you need is 21 for value. So definitely think that he is in play. And if Ingram's out, I think that he does get a little bit of a bump as well. So, like I said, there's a lot depending on that Ingram news tied with these Pelican guys coming off the bench. Moving on, next game we'll talk about, we got San Antonio going into OKC to face the Thunder.
Another slate, another day of me talking about the San Antonio Spurs on the long road trip in the history of the NBA. Was this most rodeo trip that they every single year. I have nothing for you, man. I really don't. I mean, this is where it's if DeMar DeRozan is going to get ruled out, you could possibly look Lonnie Walker, 3,500 minute value play. He played 26 minutes with DeRozan out yesterday. He plays between 15-20 minutes regularly. It's a $3,500 minimum value play. That's all I got, man. I mean, you could play Aldridge, but it's 7,100 on this late. It's not a great matchup going against Oklahoma City with Steven Adams well, and that rotation they have of bigs. For me, I mean, sound like a broken record here. You don't know who's going to play the minutes. You don't know what the rotation is going to be. The two guys you can typically count on playing minutes are DeRozan and Aldridge. DeRozan's a game-time decision with a back situation. If he does play, it opens up Lonnie Walker value play. I think Popovich is going to do, and I'm just not into Aldridge on this slate.
Bro, am I tripping? I thought that for some reason I read something that Gallinari had got traded to Miami. Was that wrong?
He's going to be traded, and then they said they're not going to move him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I seen that because I was looking right now. I was like, Gallinari, hold on a second. Yeah, no, okay, my bad. I definitely thought I see some. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, you start with Chris Paul, man, Mr. Consistent. The guy's playing another season, another year older, and still playing very, very well. Has upside any night. He's getting you right there around 38, 40 fantasy points a game. At this price tag, you need about 36, 37. So I think he's a good price. You could definitely look at him. Shane Gilgeous-Alexander's came back to earth a little bit compared to his really hot start, but he's still playing very well. We got it projected at almost 35 fantasy points, which is 4.6x. I think the guy I'm going to be looking at, if it's going to be one of the OKC shooting guards, it's going to be Dennis Schroeder. At a 6,600 price tag, the guy, comes off the bench, still plays 30-plus minutes, and the guy's been on a really, really good run. He's got you at least 35 fantasy points in 7 of the past 8 games. So Schroeder is the guy that I'm really interested in at the shooting guard spot here. Gallinari at 6,100. I think you could look at him. He's a fair price tag. The only other guy I'll consider, I think you could look at Steven Adams. He's playing pretty well with Chris Paul. He's going to play you right around 30 minutes, and at 5,200, all you need is 26 for value, and he's averaging 33 fantasy points on the season. So I think he's a really, really good play. Outside of that, that's really where I'm at with OKC. Moving on, final game of the night. This game should actually be a really good game. You got Boston going into Houston to face the Rockets.
Hey, man, and everybody laughed at this, right? Everybody laughed at the trade, and it hasn't paid off. They smoked the Lakers, dusted, and gonna have a back-to-back by the by the Suns, and then they have a 1-point loss on Sunday against the Utah. So he's been competitive. It remains to be seen how this is going to play out without having a center and trading away clink. If there's one game to possibly get away with it is against the Boston Celtics. They haven't played good against centers anyway, so you probably need one. They've got Daniel Tice, who plays their center spot around a game time decision. I think this game is going to be an absolute track meet. I mean, so you look 3 of the 5 games in the slate. I think that this game, the Portland-New Orleans game, Chicago-Washington game, are that we get the exposure to because of the fact they're probably going to be track meets. I don't price tag on Jason Tatum. I think I like Kawhi Leonard at $700 more. You have to look at Kemba Walker, but I'll caution that with 7,100 is a fair price tag for Walker, but the games in which point guards go off are the games that Russell Westbrook doesn't play, and point guards are playing against James Harden, who is not a good defender. Me, I think that you look ties because of the fact that Houston will struggle with off rebounds, and I think second chance points is killing the Houston Rockets. Their defensive rebounds fine, but they're not getting any offensive rebounds. I think that you're going to see some putbacks, et cetera, with Ty 900. I wish he was playing center position, so we had some value there. You could possibly look at his Kanter, but every year we talk about Enes Kanter is the same thing. It's always about minutes. For some reason, wherever this guy goes, he only plays 15 to 20 no matter what. Starting, not starting, period. So to me, Gordon Hayward is the guy I want to play. I think that it's the best matchup when you look across the board. You got Gordon Hayward. Hayward will probably draw Robert Covington. Covington, not a good defender. He's a 3-and-D player that doesn't play D. He just runs the floor. So to me, it's Gordon at 6,300. It's a very good play at the small forward spot. Outside of that, this seems like a market smart game, don't you think? I mean, it's like the type of game where a gritty player like Mark Smart will have to do all the things, get you steals, get you around, score the basketball. It just feels like it's a market type of game where he comes off the bench, stays 30 minutes, get you 35 fantasy points. So I'm looking at Hayward, I'm looking at Mark Smart, and that's really it.
Yeah, man, I definitely have some interest in these Houston Rocket guys. I mean, I'll start with the obvious guys. Westbrook, 10.1, definitely in play. James Harden, 11.3, he's in play. And then I think you could look at a guy like Daniel House. He's been getting the run. He's going to get some extended minutes right now with Eric Gordon being out. So I think he's a guy that you can look at. And I also think that you can look at Robert Covington at 6,000. Robert Covington is a guy that, he's always been a guy that likes to shoot threes. He falls in love with threes. But guess what? Playing in Houston is going to be the perfect spot. He's going to be able to jack up 5 or 6 threes a game, and the coach is not going to be pissed. That's what the coach wants. So if we're going to talk about a track meet, Covington is one of those athletic guys that could get out and run, play a little bit. I think that, he gets some steals. He's a pretty good guy at getting steals. He's lengthy. He can knock down some shots. I think he's a GPP play that we can look at. I'm not really feeling PJ Tucker, especially at the center position, even though Boston doesn't really. I just think there's not a position that's very, very suitable. They may get away with it, and they may be able to win games, but in the long run, when he goes up against a big center, I think it's going to be tough for him. And the stats just necessarily haven't been there. So it's Westbrook, Harden. You can look at House. You can possibly throw Covington in some GPPs as well. That's really where I'm at, man. If you want a more in-depth analysis on this slate, make sure to check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. And hey, man, good luck on your guys' contest tomorrow, all right? Peace out.